Council meeting for a committee of whole for April 9th, 2014. Please rise while we have invocation by Pastor Andrews, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Good evening. Let's bow our heads in prayer. Almighty God and Father, we are grateful here today for your grace and tender mercies. We're also grateful for those here today who lead this very government of Pottstown. I'm reminded, according to Psalms 46, that you are a refuge and a very present help in time of need. And in this very time we live in, we call upon your presence, your guidance, your protection, your strength, and your wisdom, not only for our nation, but upon this very borough. I pray for your guidance, protection, and strength, wisdom upon our mayor and the leadership of this borough, and for those who are called to serve and protect this town. May you grant them wisdom to lead us, so that the very eyes of this nation will look upon Pottstown, Pennsylvania, as the standard for what is good and a better tomorrow. And finally, that they would call on your name in the time of need, that they would seek you always in all things. And we give you all thanks and praise in all things. And this very night, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Council, just for point of record, we have one add-on for this evening. It will be number 24A. It has to do with the 5K waiver of fees for the use of our park. Our borough manager will be discussing that when we get to that point. If anyone else also would like to sign up for the end of our meeting, we have comments from our citizens. Okay, starting into our subcommittee reports, we have infrastructure. There are minutes at your desk. Anyone, Carol, would you like to highlight anything?
No, everything is there.
Any questions? Okay. Public safety, meeting next week?
It's scheduled for next week, but it's going to be canceled because of the conditional use hearings.
Okay. Economic development, anything, Erica, that you would like to bring up? Okay. Transportation, Councilor Culp, anything?
No, we had our meeting, airport meeting, and that went pretty well. We discussed the runway, and that's we're real close to getting the grant for having that redone. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think that covers things. We discussed part and some different ideas regarding the restructuring we did last year, and now analyzing some trends just to move forward with our new budget year, which will begin in July. So,
Just a question too on part. Do they have the capabilities of accepting credit cards or?
we have a multi-fare pass, which is available here in Borough Hall. So you can buy that with a credit card, but on the buses, you need exact fare, and that fare is through a cash fare. And so that's what's available at this time.
Okay, thank you. Ricketts Community Center, there's a report in your package. Anything you would like to highlight, Councilor Kirkland?
Yes, I would like to just give a few bullet points about some summer events that's coming up. During the summer ahead, they're going to have pretty soon the Easter egg hunt, which is sponsored by the Morning Star Fellowship. Also, they're going to have annual community health fair, which there will be some free health screens, free dental services for infants through 18. There'll be also some giveaways there with lots of information about health awareness and such. There'll also be a summer camp, June through August. And there also will be a back-to-school book bag giveaway sponsored by the Heart of God Worship Center. So, the Ricketts Center is gearing up for another summer. Please keep those thoughts in your summer plans. So, thank you very much. That's it.
Any questions for Councilor Kirkland? Okay, thank you. Pottstown School Board, Mr. Williams?
Thank you very much. First thing I'd like to do is ask you to send your thoughts out to George Wozniak. He's hospitalized right now. I talked to him just before I came over here. He's kind of in low spirits, but I think he's going to pull through. He's got a lot of character. Anyway, I took my glasses off. I can't read what I wrote. So, just to fill you in on the efforts of some of the activities going on to replace the stadium lights for the athletic facilities, recent casual dress efforts were successful to the tune of like $3,700, and that was just the other day, which thanks and appreciation go out to our students and their families who have become a driving force behind this effort. On May 9, the Pottstown High School staff and faculty will be competing against each other against our students in a fundraising basketball game. Tickets are going to go on sale for $5 per, $4 for students, and all contributions will be gladly accepted. This is all going toward our stadium lights efforts. I want to encourage everyone to come out and witness the lopsided event that the staff team will, as they overwhelm the gallant efforts of the student team. Right. I'm going to enjoy this. I believe that Councilman Wiend may have a little bit more information on another activity that's going to be taking place toward that effort, and I believe that he and his wife are doing an extremely exciting thing. Is it going to be at Sunnybrook Farm?
No. Okay. On the weekend of Memorial Day, I think it's May 24, 5, and 6, at the high school gym, there will be a marathon dance contest. A couple that dances the longest, starting Saturday afternoon into the wee hours of Monday, will win a $500 prize. There's a fundraiser of multi-facets being worked with that. For both personal donations and corporate business donations. That individual that collects the most personal donations has the opportunity to win a $500 prize. The hours between, 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon and 5 a.m. Monday morning will be divided into approximate 5 and 6 hour segments. Each one will have a theme, whether it's a beach theme, an oldies theme. There's a disco duck theme, I think, late Saturday evening, and you're all welcome and invited to take a look at the Pottstown School District website, where you can link to this dance marathon and get all the details. But it's kind of the kickoff to raising the $300,000 or so needed to replace the stadium lights, which is so important to not only the athletics but the band and all the other uses at the high school stadium.
What are those dates again?
I think it's May 24, 5, and 6. It is.
And I just want to express the thanks of the school board, of the school district, and of the students to you, Mr. Wind, and to your wife, Polly, for your efforts in this. You're doing a lot more than I think.
Must be some mental flaw, but I guess it's why we serve. This is home.
That's true. That's true, isn't it? Well, as I mentioned previously, the Pottstown High School Marching Band will be kicking off the 175-year celebration of our public school systems with a performance that will begin on Evans Street. I believe it's at 5 o'clock in the evening, and it will proceed over to Smith Plaza, where it will be met by local dignitaries. You are all invited. I think the invitations are in the mail if you haven't received them already. We would ask that you all be there. Now, this is going to be the beginning of a kickoff of a pretty incredible weekend, and as I think we've all mentioned, in one way or another, it begins with a celebration that I'm pursuing, and that is the rededication of the memorial over on Franklin and Industrial Highway. There will be a few other Congress folk there. I believe Congress Lady Daly from Conshohocken area is going to be visiting us that day. I've gotten contacts from other folks in that respect too. We have the color run taking place that day at about 4 in the afternoon. I believe that starts over by the Heritage location, is that right? And of course the classic car show. We've got Mayfair taking place on Pottsgrove Manor, and there's that other little event that I'm real excited about, and that's the powwow on Manatawny Creek at Memorial Park. So we're off to a great summer, a great year in Pottstown. I think the recognition that's coming into this town is going to be worth the efforts that we're all putting into this. And I thank you, Council, for supporting that effort. I know I went a little off track there now. Now, on May 16th, we invite the community to join us at a fundraising dinner and silent auction hosted by the Foundation for Pottstown Education at the Brookside Country Club. All of the information associated with that is on our website, on the school district website. We invite you to come and take a look at that. And then on May 17th, from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, each of our schools will be providing some sort of entertainment, and they will also be portraying some different aspect of the histories of our school system here. It'll culminate at Pottstown High School Middle School campus with the grand balloon release. All these balloons are ecologically, environmentally friendly. That is, that they won't end up in the belly of some animal and or injure the environment in any way. They're intended to decompose properly. I'm not totally familiar with how that works, but it sounds interesting. We're going to attempt to make history by producing a photo of the century, and that is, if we get enough people to release balloons there, we're going to have an incredible, hopefully, a record photograph that we can share with the rest of the world. And that's about it.
Mr. Williams, what's the date again of the band?
May 3. I'm sorry, that's Saturday afternoon.
I'm curious, are you requesting on behalf of the school district a street closure and permission to use Smith Plaza?
No, I'm not requesting it. I'm just mentioning what I assume has already been worked out between yourself and Dr. Sparagana.
There has been no formal request.
I'm so sorry. Let me take that back.
Well, it's good you're letting us know so that we can get it.
I would suggest that council discuss this tonight so I have the authority to.
I apologize.
Not a problem.
On the other hand, if everything works out, I take credit for it.
We'll have that as an add-on, 24B. Okay. Madam Mayor, you're up.
We have a proclamation today for the Bark for Life Day in the Borough of Pottstown, which is this Saturday, April 12th. And just like to say briefly that this was a premier event in 2006, that it was the first time that a Relay for Life that included animals was premiered, and Pottstown was the first national place that happened. So that's very significant and memorable for me as well. So I'd just like to read some elements of this proclamation, and then I'm going to invite the representatives to Dudek and others who are here, and the canine companions that we are also celebrating for their support of those who are battling cancer and being companions to them and therapeutic during that time. Whereas the Borough of Pottstown celebrates the Bark for Life in coordination with the American Cancer Society and the Relay for Life. This regional event continues to showcase the Borough of Pottstown as a community of focus, compassion, and giving. The Bark for Life expresses perseverance of those whose lives are touched by the effects of cancer, and the caregiving bond between dogs and their owners. If you'd like to meet me, I will present this to you and then give you a few moments to showcase some of the events and highlights for Saturday. I'd just like to say thank you for bringing the animal companions today and all the pictures that we already took, and for just being a part of making Pottstown a national showcase for the Bark for Life. Thank you very much.
He's camera shy. We have one off camera, he's camera shy, I guess.
Well, as Mayor Thomas said, the American Cancer Society Bark for Life of Pottstown has certainly set high standards for Bark for Life all over the country. There are now so many events because of the event in Pottstown, and it's because of the wonderful support of the Pottstown community that this has been made possible. So we thank all of you, and it's just been very awesome. And the event itself, as Mayor Thomas said, it honors our canine caregivers, but we also celebrate all cancer survivors, and we remember those who've lost their lives. So we are looking forward to letting the dogs out on Saturday. So thank you very much. This is Courtney Schaefer. She is our ACS advisor.
My name is Courtney. I'm from the American Cancer Society, and I just wanted to come out and thank you very much. So 8 years ago, we said, as the American Cancer Society, that we did not want dogs at our Relay for Life events because it would be dangerous to our participants. And Pottstown challenged that and said, why not? Now over 500 of them exist coast to coast, and this past year it went international, and you guys were the very first. So I thank you so much for your ability to think outside the box and to challenge that theory and to not back down to no, because it's funded millions of dollars for cancer research and the further of our mission.
Thank you.
Do you know already how many registered applicants you have?
Right now, I think it's over 150 participants. So I'm assuming because that includes multiple dogs, I'm sure that we have over 200 dogs registered at this point, and we usually get quite a few day of also. So.
We're so glad too, Sue, that you're continuing to keep it in Pottstown. I always thought that it should always be here. So a couple years it wasn't here, and I'm glad it's back.
And we are so glad to be back too. It's so wonderful to be so welcomed, and Memorial Park is awesome. It was just the best spot to have it last year, and we are so looking forward to being there again on Saturday. So thank you very much. There's lots of activities. We invite all of you. You don't even have to have a dog to come, so we invite you to come. There's lots of things, and it all obviously supports the American Cancer Society. So
thank you again, Sue. Okay, the next presentation is for William Smale, Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator. Want to come forward?
Good evening. My name is Tom Piatek. I'm with the Montgomery County Department of Public Safety. And we have the opportunity tonight to be looking and recognizing that emergency management and the concepts start at the local level. So you've given us an opportunity this evening to recognize that you're tasked with identifying an emergency management coordinator and possibly, in this light, a staff, where Bill Smale is the Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator for Pottstown. Once that appointment is made, there's a series of opportunities or courses that PEMA specifies to allow the municipalities to benefit of the achievements of those that take on emergency planning, emergency operation plans, and a certification program that's been designed to assist municipalities and, in fact, Montgomery County with this process. Bill Smale has accomplished the local basic level certification from the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency, and this evening we're very happy and proud to present him with that certification program. I also need to recognize that Bill as well as Chief Langle, consistently support Montgomery County's emergency management goals by attending additional trainings way beyond what's covered here. He has already worked towards the advanced and professional level series of certification classes of hundreds of hours of time, as well as support for other programs we've had involved. So thank you very much.
Okay, at this time, we're going to have a presentation, I guess an update by our L&I Inspector Director, Mr. Place.
I'll wait for the crowd to leave. Works. I want to say good evening. You're asking for an update on what we've done. Probably the biggest thing is we changed our attitude. We're heading in a direction, we're moving forward. Coming upstairs tonight, I actually rode the elevator for probably the third time so far. Young lady in the elevator asked me, what does she get for the taxes that she pays? My answer was change. That's what you hired me for, and that's what's coming. There have been a lot of changes made already. In the Remington report, there was 37 different items that were listed. Out of 37, 17 of them already been accomplished. We're in the process of moving forward on the rest of them. Building an SOP, involvement of the staff is incredible. 3 of the personnel from the staff have continued on with their certification. They've actually been certified in the recent months, and they've actually re-upped to get additional certification. That was one of the paramount things that we were looking at. As far as being a team player, every one of them are incredible. They work well. I'm just trying to keep it short too. So, but my whole idea was basically we're going to take this department, we're going to become proactive, not reactive. We're going to be part of the community. A lot of the staff members do live as residents here in the borough. I do not, but I feel it's part of my community. It's where I'm going to live the majority of my life, 24/7. Think about it. That's what we're here to. They all agree that they're there to make a change. That's what we're going to be doing. So, are there any questions as far as where we're at right now? Or
Do you think we say 34 total?
37.
37. All 37 are possible? All 37 are doable?
We're going to probably throw out some of them because they're not going to pertain. And there's actually more than 37 different items that need to be addressed, but they will be addressed. Without question. That's with the help of the staff.
Great. Awesome.
Being closely associated with the construction field, I've been hearing nothing but positives coming from a lot of contractors, and they feel that things are definitely moving forward and so forth, and also applicants that are doing work in our borough that it's a definite positive change since you come on board, Keith. So I thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate that, but I'm going to throw it back also. It is the staff that we had. They now have a direction to go in. They know what we're going to be doing. We have a plan. We're going to move forward. So,
any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Short enough. Thank you, Keith.
Okay, we're up to a bid award for the Chestnut Street Streetscape Improvement Project. Erica, you going to do this one?
Sure. Okay, the borough's Community Development Block Grant Project, which is located on Chestnut Street, 400 block, is a streetscape community redevelopment project. And the bids went out last month, and they were received. And after tabulating them and doing references, compliance checks and accuracy checks so that everything was based on prevailing wage and tested, we do have a recommendation. Civilini Construction had come in with the lowest bid, which is very well within our grant budget for the project. So if you have any questions regarding the plans for the project, I'd be happy to address that. But I would take our project consultant
DePaulo Design, their recommendation, they really worked, we worked well with them, and they provided a pretty quality sound recommendation. So that is this project, and we hope to start within the next month or so.
Where's Cipollini, where are they located? Ridley. They have a timeline on the length of the project?
It actually shouldn't be too lengthy of a project, probably an 8-week project, but that's all dependent on the lighting components, which are something that would have a lot longer lead time. So depending on that, we would have to meet and do a pre-construction to kind of talk about all that. But
Any other questions by council? Mayor, anything? Okay, thank you. It'll be listed with how do you say it, Cipollini?
Cipollini?
Okay. That'll be listed for Monday evening. CDBG, that's also you, Erica?
Okay, so we are working hard to implement the current projects that we have, and in the pipeline now, we'd like to apply for the 2014 funding round through the county for stormwater arch rehabilitation. As you know, we still are closing out a current project for the stormwater system, but according to Remington, Vernon Beach's engineering analysis, and really the state of the arches and the structure right now that we currently have, we're only really scratching the surface with the money we have. We have probably $600,000 of needed high priority repair that we can do, and because that analysis is done, we can just pick up and continue that work and bid it out to go to construction rather easily with that proposed kind of analysis in front of us and having that information. So staff had consulted on that as well as with our engineer, and we'd like to propose moving forward with it is a high priority area also for the CDBG program. So that is our proposal this evening.
Any questions? I guess it doesn't have a whole lot of curb appeal until your curb is collapsing, I guess.
Exactly. I mean, when you look at the cost of emergency repairs or having to, get down there, and Doug can vouch for that, so.
And stormwater is here to stay, gentlemen and ladies.
Exactly.
We're going to have to deal with it in more than one way. So certainly there's some unfunded mandates that are coming down from the state dealing with stormwater that is going to have a big impact. So we need to look at taking a very proactive role in this. So. Okay, thank you.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question on, back on number 10 again. I was looking at the bids here, and to me, I've done a lot of these in my career and everything, but and to me, whenever I see, because these guys look at the same plans, right?
Right.
And when the lowest comes in, almost half of what the largest is. To me, that's a red flag sometimes. I'm sure you guys are taking care of your P's and Q's and stuff like that, but I'm just letting you know, be aware of materials and things like that, and the specs, make sure everything's goes together with the specs and the plans and everything, because they try to cut corners here or there sometimes, and they're trying to bring that bid low as possible.
You're absolutely
you really
right.
have to check that to make sure. Cause that's a big difference.
There was a spread between the base bid, which for Cipollini was 150 or so thousand, and then it goes into almost the low 200s. And our project consultant had looked into it, and with a little additional research, I think it was regarding the cost of concrete and the concrete work. But they tested it all for prevailing wage and some of their suppliers and different things.
Make sure the bids are
yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
And they come with references and everything, either
yes.
the documents as far as
references have been completed.
And they've done municipal work before.
Yes, and we have also checked our excluded parties list system through the system for award management for federal government, because all federal government projects go through another layer of scrutiny, and so the county had completed that on our behalf to do a cross-check as well. So, but that deviation was on the concrete.
Pretty big.
And they had asked about that as well. Good question.
Okay, anything else?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, destruction of records.
Yeah, I think council's aware that the borough is governed by the Records Retention Act, and that act indicates how long records have to be retained periodically in order to save space. Borough council is required to enact a resolution to allow the destruction of certain municipal records. You have a resolution, I think, in your packet that would suggest that it's appropriate for the destruction of certain records going back a number of years. The departments in this case are the finance, tax, fire department, police department, and licensing and inspection, formerly code enforcement. All of the records that are ready to be disposed of would be permitted under the Records Retention Act as appropriate times to destroy. Council is required to formally approve a resolution each time records are destroyed. So this is something we've done in the past. It's relatively straightforward unless there's questions.
I have a question. In our day of technology, is destroying records just to make space practical when we can scan these records and have a computer record, an electronic record? Believe it or not, there was something that I looked at last October that I could have used records for that were destroyed in the last batch of records, and it didn't seem like it was important then when it was destroyed, but it was pretty important when I needed the information that was no longer available.
I'll have to turn that over to staff and see what capabilities we would have to do that.
Well, we certainly, we are exploring the paperless mode. There is a very large expense to the taxpayer to go through the process of scanning. We don't have the equipment presently. It's coming, but we're not there yet. One of my missions is paperless.
But even paperless storage does not go on in perpetuity. I mean, there's still costs, actually pretty tremendous costs associated with just the scanning process itself, and then the storage, because you still need to, rent or purchase electronic storage space. And I think, these records, by definition, are records that really aren't of any significance, aren't they?
According to the law, you're correct, and I guess the real issue would be at some point, you could certainly keep them all, but even if you went paperless, you would still need a resolution to physically destroy the paper documents. They're still the documents. So I think your question probably is, can we retain them somehow in electronic form, which may be possible,
and then get rid of the paper.
But you still need to pass the resolution to rid yourself of the physical documents.
Any other questions or comments? I don't know if that answered your question as to, we are looking into it, I guess, as far as
Absolutely.
possibly.
We are, in fact, we have some vendors that have been meeting with our staff as recent as last week as we move forward with the program.
Okay. Number 13, I guess this is an update of a resolution for the disposal of outdated borough equipment and property.
Yeah, probably not an update, probably more of a more generic resolution. Both the old Borough Code and the new Borough Code allow Borough Council to pass a standard resolution outlining the sale of personal property, particularly when the property is less than $1,000 as a fair market value. And we had actually a similar resolution, Mr. Tironi, concerning the sale of PCTV equipment. We never really had a resolution concerning general personal property of the borough that either becomes outdated or is no longer needed or just is acquired over time. And basically, this resolution provides that in the event the borough wishes to sell personal property that's valued less than $1,000, the individual department head of where the property is located, with the approval of the borough manager, will be permitted to explore various ways to dispose of that property, and typically with Municipid and other online auctions such as eBay would be the way that it would be done. In this way, the borough would be ensured that we get some remuneration for the property that's being disposed of, it would have a check and balance, and that the department head would have to make the request to Borough Council or to the Borough Manager, and thereafter then we make sure we get money on the sale through the online auction. Years ago, it was much more cumbersome to do that because we didn't have the new technology to do that, and we had to advertise and put in the paper and go through that normal process. It streamlines the process, but if the Borough Council's in agreement, it will allow the disposal of this property when, again, we're talking relatively small figures.
Questions? Okay, it'll be listed for Monday evening. Up to the zoning at 335 West High Street. Daniel Andrews, he's the pastor that came forward before. I guess he left. He left.
Yeah, he left.
Whose ward is this? Carol, yours?
Yeah, West High Street.
Okay. I guess he wants to rent a property and put a church in it.
Is that where, the machine shop is? Is that 335?
It's in the middle, the Fastenal building, it's in the middle.
It's the Fastenal?
Fastenal, the middle part,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I thought.
Used now. Right. It's going to stay on the tax rolls. He's just leasing the building, so it's not like it's going to go off the tax roll. So it's just putting a church in that area and so forth. So
I do have a question about that, because when you say they do a conditional or they do a variance, and they get a variance to put a church in this building, and if the building is sold, does the variance then stay, and then the church can become a nonprofit because it was authorized, the variance, while it was under lease?
Yeah, a variance stays with the property, so in theory,
Yes.
if it were granted and the use of the church were not abandoned legally, another church would have the right to go in there.
okay, with this we have three choices. One, do nothing at all and just pass it on to zoning. The other thing is send a letter of support, and the other thing would be to send a letter of non-support for this zoning. So I always turn to the counselor of the ward as far as what their desire would be.
What about the other businesses in the areas that, do they get?
They get notices as far as appearing, that they can become a party of the zoning testimony.
So I guess if we get any kind of feedback, I guess we can go from there. I mean,
If you hear anything between now and Monday night, you certainly can bring it up Monday and let council know if you have a
Right.
position.
okay. Now, wasn't he supposed to give some sort of a presentation, or was he supposed to be here?
No.
There's no formal requirement.
Okay, we'll wait till Monday evening then if there's any action that you want to bring up. Number 15, Hanover Square facade change. This came before the Planning Commission. Mr. Wayne, do you want to speak to it?
This change is not much more than budding out one section of the facade by about 2.5 feet. It's not different than other units that were built that way originally, and it seems to be favorable for the purchasers. We, the Planning Commission, see no harm in it and would recommend approval at this time.
In fact, it actually enhances it even more because it breaks it up
Yes.
instead of just being straight through and flat. It was our recommendation.
Right,
from the
it's our
planning
recommendation
to-
that you support this.
Right.
And,
How does it affect rainwater with it bumped out and if it's connected to the property next to it? Because I don't know where lot 97 is. Is it connected to the house on both sides, or just
I
one
think it's
side?
just a
likely,
window.
It doesn't matter, it would just be one wall would be shifted out by
It's
about
it's like a
30
window
inches.
area going out.
The only,
Your unit, we have a resident who
I
has
do,
one.
but that
Deb,
doesn't,
Can you explain how that?
right.
I don't think it actually changes the roof line.
No.
If you familiar with my house, I'm the one on the end unit at Hanover Square that's closest to the old AAA building. And if you look at the front of my unit, it's just it's bumped out underneath the roof line that I don't.
Oh, it doesn't go, okay, so the water.
Yeah,
is
there's
not
an
going-
overhang already on the front.
You get like an extra 2 feet of space in that room, in those 2 rooms, whatever they are. And then if you look at mine next to the one next to me, which is perfectly flat and not nearly as pretty.
And the only reason this came in front of council and the planning commission was that when council approved the Smith Pie project and the townhomes, it was actually a plan and a design of what the facades were required to be for each of the units that had visibility from certain streets. So since this is intricate to the land development approval, it requires a council approval to change the facade, even though it is a relatively minor issue.
Okay, so it will be listed for Monday evening. Number 16, powwow waiver of Memorial Park fees. This is slated for May 3rd and May 4th.
That's correct, Mr. Crony. Mr. Williams has requested that council consider waiving the rental fee for Memorial Park for both of the days of the powwow. The rental fee is $200 a day, obviously at $600, with the exception of the utilities fees, in the sense that the utilities are utilized, he would be willing to pay the fees if council is amenable to the waiver.
Any questions? Okay, it'll be listed for Monday evening. 17, Schuylkill River Sojourn, camping event. I guess there's a waiver for this one too?
Schuylkill River Sojourn will occur, will arrive in Pottstown on Tuesday, June the 10th. They are stopping over at Riverfront Park again and will be camping overnight and having a campfire at that location. Are requesting the waiver of the $300 rental fee with the understanding that they will not be using any utilities on site and they will not be involving borough staff. Obviously, this will require the fire chief to be involved also with the campfire.
They also do a pretty good job of policing themselves as far as trash and everything involved with that.
Correct.
Any questions? Okay, that will be listed for Monday evening. Number 18, Trojans for a Cure Relay for Life, May 31st, 2014.
The Pottstown Trojans for a Cure will be holding a 5K and a 1-mile fun run walk at Riverfront Park on the evening of Friday, June the 6th. And they are asking for a waiver of the $300 fee. In the past, council has authorized this waiver, however, has assessed a $100 fee. In fact, last year they did that with St. Al's team. Leave it up to council, but I wanted to give you that background information.
So this would be then, instead of, we would be waiving the initial fee of $300, but instead instituting a $100 fee instead.
Correct.
What would this cover, the $100? Was this a recommendation from staff?
The recommendation from staff, yes.
Any questions? Okay, that will be listed, and I guess that might as well go to the one at 24, because that ties in together with that, the 5K run waiver of fees for the park. That would be, if you want to cover that.
Operation Backpack, which are students, I believe, from the Pottstown community who help homeless and hungry students succeed. They are having a 5K event, a fundraising event at Riverfront Park on May the 10th, thank you, Jenny, 7 a.m., and they'll be out of the park by 11 a.m. They are asking for in years past, they were assessed a $60 fee by our Parks and Recreation Director. They have asked for the fee to be reduced to the $60. However, I would recommend that it also be maintained at the $100 that is currently being recommended by our Parks and Recreation Director.
So to keep things uniform, we will have that listed with the $100 fee.
Correct.
Okay, any questions? All right, that one will be listed. Number 19, Pottstown Volleyball Rumble Beer Garden, June 1st.
June 21st. The Pottstown Rumble will be here in Pottstown again on June the 21st and 22nd. Ken Cass, the coordinator of the Rumble, is asking for permission from Borough Council to, again, put on site a beer garden, which I believe will be featuring Sly Fox. And this year, with your permission, we'll also be featuring Manatoni Stillworks. Again, obviously, they would be required, if council authorizes this, to abide by the Liquor Control Board laws and get the event license so that they can go forward with the project.
Questions? Okay, it'll be listed. Number 20, Falls of French Creek painting. This is the painting that's downstairs in the foyer and so forth, and I guess I'll turn it over to you, Chuck, as far as what the intentions are, where it's going to go, and a little bit of the history of it and how we got it.
Yeah, this is a painting, a rather large painting owned by the borough, and for many years it was on display at the Inn at St. Peter's. It had been there for a number of years and really had little or no maintenance, or no one really looked after it. But at one point, a number of years ago, I guess the inn was closing down for foreclosure purposes, and with the change in ownership, Borough went and got its painting back. So we retained our painting. It's been, I guess, downstairs for some time. The Historical Society has approached the Borough and indicated that they found someone, an artist, that would like to restore the painting and put some effort into making it, I guess, look more attractive, and actually buy the painting. And so I guess the request of Borough Council is one, would you be interested in offering the painting for sale? And based upon the fact the Historical Society, a non-profit, has located someone that's interested, if we sold it, would you be interested in splitting the proceeds of the sale? Would benefit the Borough and the Historical Society in a combination effort. And if you're interested, we can move ahead with the details. Again, we're thinking the painting has a value somewhere between $5,000 and $8,000 once it's restored.
You know where this buyer's from?
Don't know anything about them just yet. It would just be a question of concept. And again, because of the value of the painting, we would have to work out an arrangement, but still offer the painting for public bid, because we're still under an obligation to get the most money that we can for the painting. So we just can't direct sell it to anyone. But certainly if someone's interested, and it seems like a win-win for the Borough and the Historical Society, we'd like your approval to go ahead and work out the details, and obviously you'll be kept apprised as we move ahead, but certainly.
I'm sorry, did you say there was a cost for the restoration?
Yeah, that would be on the buyer, wouldn't be on us.
And right now, unfortunately, where it's being stored is probably one of the worst places it could be stored. It's laying on the floor. As far as, mopping being done and salt coming in and, who knows whatever. It's not a good thing, and it does have some value, and it's of significance. I mean, it's of the, quite frankly, I think it should, whoever buys it should donate and give it back over to French Creek to the inn, because that's where it should go. Because it's a painting about the falls, and how we had got it. I guess the owner of the property, gave it to the borough, or bequeathed it to us, or.
Steve, I can't say how the borough acquired ownership, but I know the borough allowed it to be, stored or viewed in the Inn at St. Peter's, and it apparently had been through a number of ownership, but clearly the borough has record of its ownership in the property. And a number of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I guess, again, the restaurant was undergoing some financial issues, and there was frankly a concern that the borough would lose its rights to the painting just because, people change hands and forget things. But we made sure we retained the painting, and it's been in Borough Hall or around Borough Hall for 5 or 6 years. Not really benefiting anyone, frankly.
Not even hanging around.
Yeah, it's a piece of history that needs to be preserved. So I would recommend that we do this, and since the Historical Society can use the funds, certainly, and they're doing a lot of or almost all the legwork as far as trying to locate a buyer, and then whatever we need to do legally in releasing it at that point.
So we don't have any particular plans for it. If we don't do anything, most likely it'll probably just sit in that corner inevitably.
Well, we're hoping the Historical Society,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
they've been getting some nibbles at it, so hopefully that someone will come forward with it. I don't even know who painted it. I mean, is there a name on it, or?
There is, but I don't know if you can read it.
Yeah.
Some old paperwork we have, I know that. It's the old-time files that weren't destroyed.
Sure, the ones I didn't need.
Guess they got stuck at the bottom of the box.
They were in my office for about 10 years, so I know I've had them for a while.
Any other questions? All right, that'll be listed for one evening. 21, Human Relation Commission, there's three 3-year terms that are up. Pastor Brooks and Rita Paez, that's 2. Is there a third person?
Ken Harrison, but I haven't heard from him yet.
Okay. These will be the mayor's appointments, and then we just confirm her appointment, so. Okay. Harb, there's 2 5-year terms that are up. Who's anyone re-upping?
Levi Marburger.
Okay, 2, Levi has requested to be re-upped, and Julie Marburger. So those will be listed unless someone else has someone else that they would like to see on this. Number 23, there is a vacancy on the EAC that has occurred. One of the members resigned. I guess she moved out of the area or doesn't have the time. And I guess there is a recommendation coming forward yet. Did we get that?
We're supposed to have it by tomorrow.
Okay, so hopefully we'll have a replacement for that person.
Jim.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, number 24, Soapbox Derby events. All the dates are listed as far as the closing of the streets and so forth at Wilson Street.
It's 2 separate events, Mr. Taroni. The first being the All-American Soapbox Derby held on Saturday, June the 21st. MBUCs are requesting permission to close Wilson Street beginning at 7 o'clock a.m. Friday, June the 20th through the 21st for the event. The second event is their Challenge Kids Soapbox Derby race, which will be held on Saturday, June the 28th. They're asking to close Wilson Street on June the 28th at 6 a.m. to set up the track, and they're hoping that it should be able to reopen the street around 5 p.m. Requesting permission for street closure on both of those dates, or all 3 of those dates.
Can I just say that as a neighbor in that area, this is very inconvenient to have Wilson Street closed for a whole weekend and then a following day on the following weekend.
The memories that are created from that are priceless, so the little bit of inconvenience for the residents, certainly come down and see the children's faces as they go down the hill, and I've been a part of that for many, many years, and it's memories that I'm telling you that last a lifetime. We're fortunate to have a hill that we can do that on. So your concern for that area and the inconvenience is noted. Anything else from council? The other thing we have is the closure of the parade route. That's something that will have to be worked out with our chief and our fire chief and staff as far as what needs to be done. So you can get in touch with
I will get in touch with
Paragano so that we can have that listed if they even need it closed. But they still have to. They want to use the Smith Plaza, so that's something that needs to be looked at.
We will have something in the packets.
Okay. For the regular, councilors, the general discussion first, we'll start with Mr. Kirkland. Anything?
I have nothing, thank you.
Nothing. Mr. Williams?
I will. Since Mr. Williams asked me to speak about the marathon dance earlier, I will certainly take this time to remind anyone either present or watching on TV to make note of May 24th will be the start of a marathon dance. If you think you have the stamina to outdance all the other couples on the floor with the chance of winning $500, please go to the Pottstown School District website search out the Marathon Dance link, and welcome aboard. We're going to have a lot of fun that weekend.
Councilor Ryan?
Nothing other than I now have a Facebook page for my counselor activities, so if you'd like to post any compliments or anything of that nature, you feel free to do so.
Let me know how many you
Good luck.
get.
Yeah. That's it.
Councilor Cole? Councilor Miller?
The first Ward 3 cleanup is scheduled for Saturday, April 19th, between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. We're going to be meeting at Beach and Manatoni Streets at 9 a.m. I asked participants to bring a couple of 30-gallon trash bags and some gloves, and I'll be supplying the leaf bags for yard material. I want to thank everybody that came out to the first Third Ward meeting. The second meeting will be held Tuesday, April 29th, again at Lincoln Elementary School's all-purpose room from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Along with the invited guests, and always welcome Borough Management, Police Department, and representative from Mark Painter's office. We also have Jane Bennett from Peak Community Engagement, the Pottstown School District attending. And she's going to be joining us to give a little talk about upcoming community conversations that are going to take place at the end of May for school district families with children ages 10 and under to find out activities that they need and want to participate in and how to get them involved. And there's a great potential for major grant funding for the findings. So please come out and meet Jane and learn more about the upcoming meetings in May.
Okay. Madam Mayor, anything?
I'd just like to speak to the issue about the conditional use hearings, is that okay? About the traditional town neighborhood matrix and the provision that's provided for in the ordinance exactly allows for the type of mini markets or corner stores or, those things that were proposed by people that are looking forward to launching their entrepreneurship, giving it a try, being a small business owner, in their local neighborhood. So while we have this ongoing, sometimes online, sometimes up close and personal discussion about the revitalization of Pottstown and how to bring back some of the traditional things that have happened, and then as soon as they're presented to say, well, no, we really don't want to do that, even though it's exactly provided for in the ordinance. So this makes it, one of those situations where, it's not a tough call, but it is a tough call because it's something that people clamor for, more of what has been, bring back some of the old things, but yet when you look at the dynamic of how things have changed since those things were savvy and workable, that's where the decision has to fall. So, I just was noting a sensitivity, and to, the health consciousness of how people eat and nutrition and what's available, it all comes down to choice. And some of those choices are, hard and fixed by the nature of food science and biotechnology and the whole, thing about GMOs and should you eat organic and the food pyramid doesn't exist anymore. Does it exist? Is it relevant? Those things become personal decisions. And I can just say, just using my own household as a personal example, that someone can choose to become vegan and not eat milk, eggs, ice cream, cheese, and be 16 years old and have an understanding that they're not going to go to the corner ice cream store. It's a matter of choice. So can we drive that choice by telling people indirectly in nuances that, well, that's horrible? Because then we wouldn't promote a beer garden. But there's choices. So we always want to leave those options open and therefore continue to educate the community about choices and hopefully, prayerfully, as things move along progressively, that people will also be financially sound to be able to buy those better quality organic foods, non-GMOs, and all these other things that really make for the best fit for nutrition. So just wanted to bring those things up in the context of, a traditional town and also options and choices that are affordable and available to average or below average or above average person that lives in Pottstown. I'd like to say to Mr. Place with the L&I department, the word on the street is that people are very attuned that you mean business. So, I talk to a lot of people. Some are having landlord-tenant issues, but even the issues that they're having with their landlords, their comment to me is they know that there's a new person there and they know that that person means business. So thank you for that, because sometimes it's simply the tone at which you present things in a professional manner, in a business way, that can offset some things that are happening on the other side with landlord-tenant that are a little bit more difficult to triage, because they get into different types of things that I really can't address right now, but they're layers of legal infractions that are gray areas created by the dynamic between the landlord and the tenant that has nothing to do with your job, but it does have something to do with the perception that's created about Pottstown, and that's the area where we have to work. So I just wanted to say thank you. And I went on a couple ride-alongs this week, and I was able to witness a lot of construction. So there was some construction going on in the Mattotoni Village, and they're building houses again, so they're expanding. And there was some construction also in the Circle of Progress, and I was able to learn about kielbasa pizza with caramelized onions from the Sly Fox. So if you've never had that, you might want to try that out. So you can learn a lot by driving around with the Pottstown Police Department. They're very informed, and also in keeping the law, they're keeping up to date with what's happening in the town. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Comments from citizens present?
David and Katie Jackson are no longer here, I believe. Cynthia Connard is no longer here. Linda and John Waklowski are no longer here. Ross Belovich is here.
First, I want to say I agree with the mayor about mom and pop businesses and town neighborhood. And I wish these gentlemen the best. I just wish they sounded like they had a more solid business plan. But all things considered, we do need that type of thing in town. I'm really here to speak about the Thesaurus project. I was unable to go to the meeting on Monday, so I didn't get a chance to talk to them. But I ask you to consider my things here. First off, the most obvious problem is parking. And if you're going to rent apartments to modern-day aspiring people, they are going to own and use a car. 43 units are going to require a lot of cars. In the 21st century, I would think a lot more than the allocated spaces. I think the idea as presented is to have a thriving business and bustling artist apartments, so where are the patrons going to park? What about the guests and tenants, the tenants may have? With 43 units, I would think it'd be safe to guess at least a few of them would have guests at any given time, and where they're going to park. And what happens in the winter? Everybody remembers this winter, right? So, even assuming the projects go according to plan, what will be the strain on parking congestion due to the property values of the neighboring homes? Will people want to pay a lot for 3, 4, and 5-bedroom houses in that neighborhood with no parking available? At my house, my wife has a car, and I have 2 or 3 at any given time. So, I also have another concern that has never been satisfactorily answered. They say they are allocating 6 units for county patients, but nowhere have I found this to be limited to no more than 6. And actually, after I wrote this, I found that they've already expanded that for more county funding. In several of the groups I'm involved here in Pottstown, an important subject that often is discussed is how to improve the perception of Pottstown and how to make it more desirable, how to bring higher incomes into town, and most immediately, how to bring in more people with disposable income. And that's the key word, disposable income. In all the talk of revitalization, I've often heard the comparison to Phoenixville, but there's a major difference between us and them, is that they have access to a much closer population that has got a higher disposable income. And we have to take that into consideration. So it's not the best economics to introduce even more people of low income into the equation. In this, I question the motivation and the business plan of their project. The economics just don't really work. And by the rules of the project as described, low income with a maximum, by definition, the tenants will not have the money to stimulate our local economy, and yet there'll be added strain on services and infrastructure. Does that sound like a good, profitable business decision on their part? In the end, if the project does go through, I would hope that the borough does everything in its power to partner with the entire local arts community to make it go the best way that it can. I don't really think it can be successful without a strong partnership by the city if it does go forward. That said, I really do want to see the great things happen, and I want it to be a good thing if it does happen. I just have a lot of concerns over it. One thing is I don't see a single repercussion if what they advertised doesn't come true in any way. They win no matter what. They win if the artists flock to the new project. They win if the entire building is rented to the county. They win either way, and they win with my, your, and the people of Pottstown's very own tax dollars. But we and the city as a whole stand to lose big time if they miss their mark on the projects. The only way I would feel better if they were willing to offer the city some kind of contract with tangible, concrete repercussions if their overall goals change to our detriment. Something that makes sure they are as motivated to make sure things go right with real accountability and penalties. If they really believe what they have advertised to us, then they should be confident enough to back up their intentions with real risk to them, just on the basis of goodwill.
Thank you. Okay, for the regular meeting on Monday, we will have the conditional use hearing that is scheduled and slated for 6:30 for with Housing Visions. Then there is a public hearing, is that 7 o'clock, I guess, or 7:30?
Yeah, it's good. I think it's 7:30, but it will be at the
Flexible.
conclusion of the conditional use, whenever that might be.
Other ordinance confirming provisions requiring permits and a master traffic ordinance update. So they will also be listed. So with that being said, we will be going into executive session with no decisions being made this evening. We are adjourned.